this for quite a while now. This is my 13th year here, and I think Brad's right in saying that it's an exciting day, and it never really gets old. As Brad mentioned, it means a lot to our university and obviously our soccer program, but also to me personally, and to the Stone family. So it's a big day for us. There's lots of things to go around. Put a lot of things into our recruiting class over the course of a year and a half as we build relationships with kids. A lot of hours on the road, a lot of phone calls, emails. Believe it or not, quite a bit of prayer goes into it, so I have to thank God for providing for us. Also like to thank some of our professors in our department. Our admissions department does a great job when we bring kids on campus. And obviously my assistant coach, Andy Jansen, I think he's one of the best recruiters I've ever been around. And he has a huge piece in what happens here and how successful we are. And then last but not least, our players. They're probably the best recruiters we have. It seems like if we can get a kid on campus and they can meet our team, our chances increase astronomically. So I apologize if I'm missing any thank yous. There's tons of thank yous to go around, and I'm sure I've missed a few, but it's definitely a day of Thanksgiving for us, and I'm pretty excited about this program, or this class we have coming in for 2015. One thing we've really tried to do the last 2-3 years is really try to hone in on work ethic. So I feel like the theme for this class is hard work. I think we have a lot of kids who like to compete and like to come to training every day and sweat and get better. And as a coach, you can't ask for too much more than that. So I think the character of this class is very strong, and we're looking forward to working with each one of these young student athletes and helping them become the best soccer players and people that they can become.
Any questions from you, media in the room?
Recruiting to stats is easy. Recruiting to work ethic has got to be the hardest thing in the world to do. What's the path that you try to follow to try to figure out if a kid's going to work?
Well, that's a great question. One of the things Andy and I have done is we've actually started to create some questions that we ask coaches. So we have specific questions geared towards work ethic that we'll ask their coaches, and depending on how those responses are, may determine whether or not we continue on recruiting or the level that we may recruit a kid at. And then obviously the eye test, just observing them game. If you're fortunate enough to be able to observe some trainings, you can get a better sense then too. So those would be some of the things that we've tried to do to figure that piece of it out. But yeah, the mental piece, like that's always kind of the hidden piece that's hard to figure out sometimes, and it's so important. If there's
Any other questions?
Do you recruit best players available or to fit a certain need?
I think we usually start out with the idea, well, I guess we'd say we recruit the best player available. However, we have tried to become more specific over the years and look at our roster, break it down positionally, and look at how we do things systematically and figure out, hey, what are our specific needs? So I think it always starts out with that in mind, and it did again this year, but as our class progressed, you're not able to always quite meet those needs, but as long as we're bringing in kids who are talented and kids who have character, then we're doing okay. And I think we have enough kids on our roster that they're versatile enough. We can slide around and find new positions here and there. And at the end of the day, if you're a great player, you're probably going to be able to play in a few different spots. Hopefully, some players are a little bit more penciled in, but so yeah, I would say we try to be as specific as we can, but at the end of the day, if we can bring in a kid who has great character and they're great in the field, we're gonna do that, even if it means we're playing with 24s in the roster. So,
looking at your senior class from last year, you lose a goaltender who played a ton of minutes over her 4-year career and a couple people on that back line. How are you able to address those things in this class?
Yeah, good question. We all have a sophomore goalkeeper in Catherine Arneson that we feel very confident in. And then Anna Phoebe, our freshman that we're signing from Cretin-Durham Hall. She's a very high level goalkeeper. So the goalkeeper position we feel very strongly about. We're excited about that position, and obviously Sonia left some big shoes to fill, but we feel like we have a great tandem in there and a great pair, and they're going to compete well. And either of those two, I would feel confident about going into a game with. As far as the back line, Natalie Ingalls coming in from Anoke Ramsey, and she has some great leadership qualities about her, and has some things you can't coach. She's 5'10". She's really good with the ball up in the air. So, and we have a good returning core too. So hopefully between those combinations, we'll be able to continue to defend well and maybe even progress.
How quickly do you see these girls becoming impact players?
Well, I think, I think even for myself and Andy, that's a bit of an unknown. No matter how many times you watch a player until you have them in a training and working with your players and trying to play the way that you want to play, you don't quite know. But I think there's quite a few of them that can make an impact early. I think it was a really talented class, and I would expect quite a few of these kids to challenge for starting positions as freshmen, and I expect quite a few of them to nail down some minutes and not just help us off the field in the classroom, but also help us on the field early.
Recruiting change, first recruiting cycle after moving to artificial turf.
Yeah, well, it's funny, Schultz, because when we made the move down to the Chet, it really was a smooth transition, because that's really how we like to play anyways, and I know a few of my buddies in the league are watching this and give me a hard time, but it's no secret how we like to play. So we like to keep the ball on the floor and move it around, and it's such a clean surface down there, so we didn't really have to change any of our recruiting habits or change the type of kid we went after because of the surface we played on. And so yeah, but it's been great down at playing in the stadium.
Have you ever lost a player because you played on grass before?
I don't know if we've ever lost a player. I had heard a few players hint around that they didn't like grass and they were used to playing on turf, and it seems like almost every high school now has turf, and I don't know if I'd go as far as saying we lost someone, but it definitely came up in discussions. I think facilities are a piece of it, and I think we've been working hard to improve a lot of our facility situations here, so hopefully that's going to be a positive piece for us moving forward in the recruiting world.
You talked a little bit about their backline defense a little bit. Looking at your recruiting class, there are a couple forwards who have a lot of experience scoring goals. Maybe just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and ironically, we've talked to one or two of these players about a potential position change. I know Coach Tess last year, he talked about football, position changes, and a Super Bowl. I think that receiver for the Patriots was a quarterback college. So kind of along the same lines. If you have a good athlete, a really good player, hopefully we can get our best 11 on the field. But we kind of one of our strengths was attacking last year, and I would say we added to that strength. We brought in some kids who can score some goals. There's no doubt about it. Allie Erickson, when we watched her over the years, some of the goals she scored, the quality of the goals she scored were pretty high level. Rachel Norton, you know, she scores goals like it's going out of style. So Maggie Kohler's also scored a lot of goals in her high school career. So yeah, quite a few kids who can put the ball in the net, and you can never have enough of them. And then, you know, Danny Nelson, she's just great all-around player, great on, you know, on the ball. She's good in the air. She can play kind of in a midfield role for us, but she's versatile too. She can play some other spots if we think we're going to put her in a holding mid spot. But you're right, yeah, the class was very talented in terms of getting up the field and getting the attacking third and putting the ball in the net. And really, if you can, you know, if you can score from different positions on the field, you know, if you can get some scoring between all your lines, you know, your forwards, your mids, and your defense is going to give you a higher chance to win. So it's definitely a good thing, and it plays into how we like to play. We like everyone to be technical on the ball. We like to play out of the back. So, you know, if we have a forward who ends up becoming an outside back or something along those natures, it kind of suits how we like to play.
One more quick question about these recruits. Allie Erickson had a sister who went here.
Yeah.
And also you have a couple of players who I know played for Chris, your former GA.
Yeah.
How do those kind of relationships help you in recruiting?
Well, it's, you know, it's two things. One, it's bad because it means I'm getting old. And yeah. And two, it's nice because there's alumni out there. There's, you know, former GAs and assistants like Chris who are really active in the club world and believe in what Bemidji State's about. And anytime we can get helping hands out there in the soccer community, it only goes to improve our program. So yeah, definitely, yeah, we owe some thanks to Chris, and we're excited to have another Erickson here for sure. So hopefully she can score a lot of goals like her sister did.